Hello, and welcome to my weekend cigar. I'm Gary Korb, and this weekend I had a chance to take the Rocky Patel Dark Star Toro for a taste drive. I'll have all the details for you shortly, but first let's start with the stats. The Rocky Patel Dark Star cigars are made at Tabacalera Plasencia El Paraíso in Danlí, Honduras. The cigar is rolled to a strapping 6 inches by 52 ring. The body and strength are medium. The wrapper is a Honduran Corojo over Mexican San Andreas binder and fillers from Nicaraguan Jalapa, Honduran Jamastran, and Honduran-grown Paraguayan seed. Okay, that's very interesting thing about this cigar. And you'll find the Rocky Patel Dark Star Toro in boxes of 20 cigars and singles at where else but Famous Smoke Shop, aka famous-smoke.com. Okay, let's see what the origin story is for this cigar. All right. Now, Rocky Patel has made a lot of Honduran-forward cigars over the years, and with Dark Star, save for its Mexican Andreas binder, is practically a Honduran puro. However, one of the Honduran-grown filler leaves is from a seed that originally comes from Paraguay. According to Rocky, the leaf is the opposite of Esteli, similar to Costa Rican tobacco. It has more of an almond nuttiness to it, but it's also a little sweet, but not too sweet. Right now, before the final blend was dubbed Dark Star, it had gone through 63 versions, narrowed down to a final 3. Now, the cigar is also meant to smoke similar to a Cuban cigar, in that it has medium-bodied flavor like most Havanas. The Rocky Patel Dark Star selection comes in 4 sizes, Robusto, Toro, Gordo, and the nubbish 4x60 Short Star. All right, next up, my Rocky Patel Dark Star Toro experience, but please keep in mind that your experience may be different. All right, now this cigar had a good firmness to it with a shiny caramel-colored wrapper, and I found it, the wrapper a little bit delicate. Now the cap was expertly done, nice and round on top, 3 seams, 2 bands are placed at the neck, and there was one at the foot that I removed, and I got sort of a cinnamon spice-like aroma off the wrapper, and then after cutting, the cold draw offered more of a dense herbal flavor. But once lit, the flavor was instantly nutty and creamy with a light caramel flavor. So the cigar got off to a really nice start, and I also noticed it left kind of a spicy finish on the palate. Even the burn got off well, and by the first inch, the smoke was medium-bodied and impressively mellow. The Toro puts out a lot of thick ambient smoke too. Look at this. Nice, right? Then I began to wonder when I was going to get to the dark part, right? Now, pretty well past the first inch, things start to brighten up even more. Not darker, brighter. At this point, I was getting a mostly nutty smoke with a mix of earthiness and a sweet accent. Then, as it began to close in on the midsection, some of that caramel flavor drove by. There was a hint of cinnamon in there too. So the cigar was getting very interesting. And by its midpoint, the cigar was alive with these baking spices, and I was still pretty impressed with how smooth the smoke was. An oaky flavor kind of entered the mix at this point, and all this time, there was this taste that I just couldn't put my finger on, and the spicy finish also seemed to have a delayed response. Now, in the final inches, the Toro maintained its smoothness and medium body, and by that point, the oaky flavor began to push the nuttier element off to the side, but the baking spices stayed alive, and that was pretty much it until the last inch or so. Now, don't go away, because my final thoughts are next. All right, now, as advertised, the Dark Star was not as intense as some of Rocky's other Honduran fare, but it did have something different. There was this nice mellowness that this cigar carried with it. If anything, there may be something to be said for that Paraguayan seed tobacco, especially since it's the least used tobacco in the blend, just 1 leaf. It's also another shining example of how well tobaccos from other countries tend to thrive in Honduras. I was wrestling with the idea that the Paraguayan leaf made it Cubanesque. Was that the missing link to this curious flavor I couldn't get my arms around? Well, maybe. But I'll give it this much. The blend does have something very unique to it in flavor. Let's call it umami, okay? I also liked how this Toro stuck to its medium body for the duration. I had my samples with coffee, but I can almost taste how good my next one will be with a fine, dark añejo rum. And here again is a cigar that you really have to smoke to appreciate. And there you have it. Remember, you'll find the Rocky Patel Dark Star Toro and the many other fine cigars from Rocky Patel at famous-smoke.com. For more cigar reviews, advice, and news, follow us at cigaradvisor.com and on all of the popular social media channels. If you like this video, please check like and share it with your cigar smoking friends. For My Weekend Cigar, I'm Gary Korb, and thanks for watching.